Yeah. Thank you, Masa-san, for the beautiful presentation. Now we have Marcus here, and I would like to introduce Marcus. So for the past 13 years, Marcus has been in love with his adopted home of Japan and the concept of quality in an age obsessed with speed. He now heads up a team of 80 technologists in Rakuten, Tokyo, managing a global development team stretching across 4 continents. As a developer, he had a diverse career, working for big pharma, telcos, and has founded 2 startups. He has had the pleasure to work on almost every part of the tech stack, but mostly enjoys working on the front end. So I will hand over the mic to Marcus. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Manvi. And thank you all for being here today. I hope you enjoyed all the sessions. This is actually the last session for the HTML5 track, so I'm all that stands between you and the beer bash, so hopefully we can get through this quickly. Okay, so I'm going to change the topic a little bit. I'm going to start talking a bit, take a step back and talk about strategy. What are we doing in Rakuten? We have a global environment. What are the sort of challenges that we have, and what are the technology choices that we're making to beat those challenges? And hopefully what you're seeing here is a lot of the things that we've been talking about in the track, how we're putting those pieces of technology together, and hopefully taking the company forward. So, the agenda, I'll start just to highlight what our kind of challenges are. Then I'll talk about the architecture choices that we're making for this. Then I'll focus a little bit on the front end, go to the back end, and then I can take any questions. But if you have any questions, stick your hand up, shout out. I'm happy to take questions during the presentation too. Okay, so we're going to have a little bit of a history lesson with Rakuten. So it all began here. Rakuten started as a very local shopping mall, Rakuten Ichiba. We had a development team, technology team working very closely together. And then as the company grew, through acquisitions, creating new services, acquisition of Rakuten Travel, Rakuten Card, growing the company inside Japan. The next phase is overseas acquisitions, so things like Ebates, Viki, Rakuten TV. We've now got so many different companies in the world. And this year in particular, as I'm sure you've been hearing a lot of, we're really pushing our international expansion program here. So the sponsorship of FC Barcelona has really helped us to do this. So what does that mean for technology? So the point I'm trying to get to here is, with so many different teams in different parts of the world doing wonderful things, we have some challenges as a technology leader. Firstly, we want to make sure that everybody can be building things quickly. The business has an idea, they want some new features, they want a new product. We need to deliver that quickly. But then at the other side of this, we want to make sure that we're a large organization now. We have a lot of security threats. We're under attack. We want to make sure that the user experience is consistent and is really good across the board. When you try the app, it should be quick, it should load fast, it shouldn't have bugs. How can we keep these things together? When you want to go fast, maybe you're going to make some shortcuts, maybe you're going to make some mistakes. And we don't want that when we want to keep the consistent quality. So how do we deal with this? This is kind of my challenge, or the challenge of our team here in Tokyo. So the way we approach this, it's kind of a philosophy. What we want to do is allow the developers to focus on the code, to focus on the features that they're building. They should be working with the business, they should be thinking about what the customer wants. They shouldn't have to care about all these extra things. So we want to have the right tools and the platform to kind of look after that for them, so that they can just code in the trust that we will ensure that everything they do is high quality and performant. So this is the kind of the dream we're trying to get to. And the way that we have decided to do that is maybe 2 key components. Firstly, on the back end, we're creating a microservices architecture with a gateway, which is going to handle all the security, performance monitoring, and other kind of consolidated functions. So developers can focus on delivering the value of the back end. And at the front end, we also have an SDK, which we ship out to all the application developers. So this is the model that we're going for. It's very simple, it's proven, and we're rolling it out across the globe. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about the front end. So here we have a kind of snapshot of how we see the current front-end app development landscape. Over here on the left-hand side, you have native Android, native iOS. So these are when you have an app development team who are really good with the native SDKs, they can deliver pretty much whatever you want. These guys are in high demand, high skill, expensive. Things like Ichiba, travel, we have full native teams. But then as you come down this side, we had Masa just talking now about Cordova, HTML5. When you have less resource, when you need to move quickly, using HTML5 technology is also an option. It's a very good choice. And then in the middle, Xamarin, React Native are other things that we're looking at too. So on one hand, there's a lot of coding, and on this side, maybe less coding. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what we believe. And with Rakuten, we have chosen to partner with Monica. So this is Masa's presentation earlier. We are using this, we're rolling this out, starting new projects with the HTML5 technology. So we're backing this, we believe in this a lot. But there is one more player in this game. If you were here earlier and saw the Aquafadas piece, Aquafadas is a company in France. They provide a zero-code solution. So this would be for marketing people, for designing people who have no coding experience. They too can now build apps. Certain types of apps work really well here. If it's heavy on content, then these are really suitable. So in Rakuten now we have a massive scale of different languages which we're using. Each of these have their place. But it means managing that and keeping the quality can be quite tough. So the way we do it is our team is providing this SDK. We code up all of the pieces that we feel that the developers shouldn't have to care about. Things like authentication, your login, things where there's security. We build it once, we deliver it in various forms, and then the app teams don't have to care about it. We do that with points, which is a big part of the Rakuten ecosystem, payment, Discover, which is a way of cross-promoting all the apps. And we ship this out. So we have the build process, the testing, the QA, the delivery mechanism, centralized repo, all of the different companies they're pulling from this, integrating it to their apps. And we run the updates, and we manage this with a small team from Tokyo. And that way we can allow everybody to use which technology of choice that they prefer. We wrap the SDK up as a Cordova plugin, and available through the Monica App Studio internally. Okay, so that's the front end. Now we're going to skip to the back end. So this is kind of how I see development evolving. Traditionally, you have your developer writing code, which they would then deploy. That's kind of how it worked. And then there's a lot of open source, and this has been going on and growing crazy, which means now your developer is empowered with all this other code that they can use. The power is, they can now develop faster, bigger systems, less developers. There's a massive shared pool of resource that we can tap into. So this is kind of where we are. And this is where we're seeing the industry going. Not only can you have shared code libraries that you're using in your own applications, but now you can start hooking into APIs that are available from other teams or other companies. These microservices, we believe, are going to be a really big step forward. So internally, that brings some challenges. We have all of these different APIs created by different teams. These could be in France, these could be in Tokyo, they could be anywhere. We don't know who these people are, perhaps. But we want to be able to share all of that with our app teams. So the way we've done it is we're putting together the gateway. We're actually using the Kong technology. If anybody was in the session this morning, the Kong team were here. So we've chosen their gateway for the security, all of the logging, the monitoring. When we run service in Rakuten, I think this is a Japanese kind of mentality that we have. we care a lot about the uptime, we care a lot about the performance, we care a lot about we don't want it to go down for our customers at all. So we spend a lot of effort monitoring and keeping the uptime on this layer. And then, on the app side, we have the SDK, which hooks in, giving you direct access to each of these microservices. So with microservices, how do people find them? Okay, so we have all these wonderful APIs that anyone can use, but nobody knows about them, and it's pretty useless. How do we make sure that these aren't doing anything malicious or opening backdoors into our infrastructure? Perhaps your API, which you're providing, is quite resource intensive. You don't want to just let anybody use it, so maybe you need to cross-charge for it. Management of your own API. Maybe you want to bring it up and down, you want to have some maintenance time. How do you do that? And then support. Let's say I'm using your service and then I have a problem. What am I going to do? How do I find out the spec or the documentation for this thing? So these are the challenges that we found. It's a busy slide, but basically I think mainly the answer is Kong for a lot of these things. The gateway gives us a lot of power. We're actually adding a layer on top. We've got a team developing the dashboard. We've got a team developing an internal catalog of APIs. And we have an internal portal for documentation as well. So that pretty much is everything I want to talk about today. Has anybody got any questions? Okay, wonderful. I think everybody wants beer. Cool. Okay, so we're going to open up an open API program fairly soon. We have a fledgling one now, but if you go to Rakuten, developers.rakuten.com, we're starting to put out things, we're going to start sharing things, we're going to start opening up the SDKs. So keep this in mind and check back regularly, please. Thank you for your attention.